The Valhalla Movement is basically a movement of people who are coming together who believe in a better world. Basically, we're trying to build the world that we believe is possible in our hearts here at Valhalla. What that means in terms of physicality, or what that means what we're physically going to do, is we're basically going to live 100% self-sustainably. We're a community of people who believe that the direction that the world is going in today, and with the facts that are kind of arising in our world, from global warming to dependence on oil and so on and so forth, the economy, that living self-sustainably is a viable option, but it's also a necessary option. And so we believe that we're coming together to build something that would, prosper for all of us for, into our futures and so on and so forth.
So what does it mean, sustainable community? Like, can you define it for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question, I guess, to define, and a lot of people have a preconceived notion of that. But a sustainable community is basically a place where everything is provided for by the land itself, or on the land itself. Everything from our food to our energy productions to the activities that we participate in. And literally, it's almost like recreating society and all the aspects of society in the Valhalla movement itself. So everything from yoga to cooking to growing your own food to, again, building your own energy, living and building in your own home, and so on and so forth. It's really putting all and tying all those things together into one project.
And what inspired you to do it? How, you just woke up one day and you're like, we need to do this, or?
There's a lot of things that inspired me. I think one of the first things is learning the real way that the world works, so the real way where money is created, the unsustainable practices that are today, and just the general knowledge and facts that you accumulate via the internet and TV and school, that just led me to believe that living self-sustainably is just the way that we need to progress. It's the change that we are looking for and that everyone is looking for.
And then you recruited friends? And
then I decided that I was going to start. That's just the type of person that I am, I guess. And I think it's the type of person that we all are. It's just that we all wanted to see the change, and we all hear these quotes about Gandhi and be the change you want to see in the world. And so I knew that lots of people thought this way, and therefore we all came together as a community to decide, hey, we were going to build a self-sustainable community, and it wasn't going to be about what I wanted or about what any individual wanted, but about what we all wanted.
And did you, because you're in marketing, right?
Yeah, I graduated in marketing, yeah.
And so how did you figure out that there was a way to do this?
And how did I figure out there was a way to do this? Truthfully, I'm still figuring it out, and that's part of the project itself. Part of the movement itself is actually transitioning the knowledge that we used to have and the way that the conventional, traditional values and things that we had learned before, and kind of changing and growing that knowledge into what is actually possible today. So we all know that, for example, solar panels exist. We all know that wind energy exists. But the difference is that none of us have really tried it. We hear about how they're inefficient. We hear how they might not work in the winter, or so on and so forth. But some of these things are actually untrue. And so we're kind of learning as we go, and that's basically how everything came into fruition. It's just we decided that we valued learning it, and through valuing learning it and through intending to learn it, we actually learned it.
And you're talking about solar panels and the Earthship, and these are all big expenses.
Absolutely.
So how are you getting funding for them, or how, and even the land itself?
So far, I mean, basically so far, everything we've done has been out of pocket. But we have plans for doing things like crowdfunding. So using the internet as a tool, sites like Kickstarter.com, so on and so forth. We also plan on getting a documentary and building a documentary where hopefully we can get people interested in these topics who would actually provide us funding. And the rest is we just go through finding sponsorships, through paying through it because we believe in it. So in the same way that somebody goes out and spends money on whatever they like, whether it be the new iPhone or a new laptop, well, we are now spending money on this project.
And when you go out and you're looking for sponsors, how do you explain to them what you're doing without them, kind of being a little skeptical about it, or maybe thinking it's a hippie movement, or?
I think the best way for me to explain that is I feel that a lot of people believe in this, and a lot of people are looking for this change. And so when we talk about actually doing the change, and then we can prove that we're actually doing it by showing them our website or videos and the pictures, the number of people who are joining, I think that adds to the credibility of what we're actually doing. I think a lot of people start believing what we are doing because we are actually doing it. And when they see how much land we have, and when they hear about the ideas that we have, they really want to join, they want to be a part of it in the same way that I wanted to be a part of it.
Okay. And on the website, it said something like, unlike a hippie movement,
Yeah.
you guys are different. How are you different? Like,
How are we different from hippies? I mean, hippie is a very general word, and it's very hard to define and it's very hard to coin. In some ways, I guess we are the same, but in some ways we're very different. So we're not trying to be a self-sustainable community that is like a hermit community. We're not the Amish either. We're trying to use the modern day technologies that we have today and the availability of the knowledge that we have today and put that into a project that we believe can actually work. So we're not trying to segregate ourselves from the world. We're not protesting, and that's something that hippies are associated with. This is our protest. Action is our protest. Really being the change that we want to see is our version of protest. So in some ways we are like hippies, but in other ways we aren't, in the sense that, we come from different backgrounds. I still plan on being able to cook my food on a regular stove and be able to use a refrigerator and so on and so forth. But it's using these new ways of thinking, these new knowledges, that we can do these things more efficiently. We don't necessarily have to outsource and get everything that we have from China. We can produce everything we need here, and that's what we're out to prove.
and you said that there were gardening companies that were helping you guys out.
Yep. Gardening, water filtration companies. I mean, now Earthships themselves and the people who kind of developed this concept are now interested in working with us. And there's much more on the horizon. I mean, just more and more people who are just taking interest in what we're doing. And now they're coming together and they want to help create merchandise and so on and so forth. Public relations and stuff are coming our way as well. So, I mean, it's through the action of what we're doing, again, that is bringing people just to us. And we're outreaching to different communities and different people who might be open to these ideas. And so far, it's just working. It's resonating with people.
Is this the first of its kind in Montreal, or is it other people who have been trying to do this?
There's definitely other communes, there's definitely other communities. I mean, I think Montreal itself is a community. Anybody who practices yoga is part of a community. So community and the notion of community exists and it has always existed. Is there another self-sustainable community that is applying, everything from Earthships to living self-sustainably? I think so. But the one thing that sets us apart is that we are marketing it. We are talking about what we're doing, and then we're trying to convey and teach people how we're doing it as well. We're not trying to keep it to ourselves. We're not trying to make a profit off of it. We're really just trying to see the change that we want to see spread as much as possible.
So what's your overall mission for this project in the end?
So the goal, I guess, what's the overall goal? Yeah. The overall goal is that we basically can live in a self-sustainable community, so we can build our own homes, but we can also have a system, or not a system, but a community of people where everyone is empowered to be able to do what they want, to follow their dreams, to learn the things that they want to learn, and to be able to actively participate in doing those things. Not just learning about it like we do at school in theory, but actually doing it. And I think that would allow anybody to empower themselves, to gain confidence, to be able to actually partake in what they want to do and seeing their dreams through. I think that will create the change that everyone wants to see.
And you also have a vision that other people will also, do the same thing and try to...
Absolutely. I'm sure that the second that they see that it's feasible, I believe that other people are going to now say, well, why don't I do this? Because it's, in many ways, it might be even cheaper than buying a condo or building your house in the conventional manner. So if you can save money with the rising food prices and gas prices and so on and so forth, then this becomes more and more of a viable option for certain people to actually partake in.
And you're talking about building a house in next summer. You said you're going to get
started? Yep. So we would start, ideally what we're doing now is planning this entire winter. We're coming together as a team, we're building a website, the content, so on and so forth, going after the crowdfunding and stuff. And ideally what we're going to do is start building in the spring. So as the spring progresses, we build the first community center Earthship. Ideally we can move in. And from there, we decide, what classes and what's our next build, what are the next steps that we have to do to develop the rest of the land that we have available to us.
And who else is involved in the project?
There's tons of people involved. To name some, there's people like Lawrence, Jeremy, Jordan. People from around the world have come down to actually move into our house or to partake in the community itself. We've had tons of visitors and lots of online support. So it's impossible for me to name everyone, but I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of people who are taking interest from around the world.
But there are 5 of you main
I would say, yeah, there's 5 people who are doing this full time, And then there's another, dozen or so that are coming in part-time and getting more and more actively involved as the project is progressing.
Okay. And you're done school and you got
Yeah.
your degree, and
Uh,
are you also working on the side, or?
Yeah. So I graduated in entrepreneurship and marketing. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18, and I last year had started a marketing company called WSB Media. We do everything from films to website design to everything from weddings and photography and so on and so forth. And we're using those skills to actually help the project itself. So it's kind of like we reversed engineered the project by marketing the idea first, getting people together and who resonate with this idea. And then once we had that collective group of people, we were able to build what Valhalla is and come together and make it happen.
Just gonna check if I asked you all my questions.
Sure. If there's anyone you want me to re-say or I said too
Oh,
long or
that was
whatever.
great.
Try and be as concise as possible, but at the same time, like, encapsulate the whole thing is intense.
Yeah, whose land is it?
Second
Oh,
before.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Just gonna get this.
Spider on my book.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't mention, our legal structure.
What's that?
Ideally, we're going to open up a co-op. So we're in the process of opening up a co-op, so like a one share, one vote. And the idea is that it's nobody's land. And therefore, yeah, I'm going to say that. Yeah, that's the idea, is basically to open up a nonprofit co-op so that nobody owns it and therefore nobody can tear it down. Not any one person can tear down this idea,
Okay. Yeah, so you want to explain it?
Reiterate that, yeah, sure. So in terms of legal structure, the way we're trying to set things up is as a nonprofit co-op. The land itself, ideally, and the entire community itself, is to be a one person, one vote kind of system. We're looking to make sure that nobody really owns the land, and so that the collective and the community as a whole makes all the decisions. We believe that, maybe this fails in certain ways in terms of government and at higher levels because there's so many implications involved, but in a smaller community with a whole bunch of people who are all living in, a small kind of area, we feel like this can really work. This can really benefit the way things work, and it's still a very democratic system. It's a way that allows us to have a legal identity, to be able to interact with the legal world and the rest of the world, I guess, which we don't plan on separating from in any way. Yeah, I mean that's.
And but how did you acquire the land in the first place? Like,
I bought it.
you bought it.
Yeah, I just decided I'm gonna buy this piece of land. Yeah, I have rights for all the 60, but I ended up buying this first piece and decided from there that it was just a community's. That it was almost like I never bought it, and it was just as much everyone else's as it was mine.
Okay. And you said that you didn't know anything about gardening, farming. None of you do.
I mean, we knew, we had only read about it. We had heard about it online. We had read the principles of permaculture. We had kind of fantasized about it, but we had never put it into practice. So no, I mean, this is kind of our first time around at actually building a sustainable community. It's the first time around at actually trying to build a giant garden, so on and so forth. But as we go, we're learning, and that's the point. That's the whole point of the Valhalla Movement itself, is that we're learning to do things differently, and in that learning process is exactly the change that we want to see.
And how can people get involved themselves?
The best way to get involved is probably to contact us through our website, either to come check us out on Facebook at Valhalla Movement or visit valhallamovement.com, or just to come physically down here. So if you want to be able to meet us, send us an email or contact us by phone, and we can, schedule a tour. We can explain to people what is going on. But yeah, the best place is valhallamovement.com.
So you're recruiting everybody and anybody who wants to participate?
Anybody and anyone who's actually going to say that they're going to be part of it and at the same time take action.
Great. I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Right. Yeah, perfect. I'll let other people do some talking now.